feel like we had a lot of this conversation last week. Our starting point's got to be us, and when you have a turnover that goes for a touchdown, and you have another turnover that sets up 3 points, 10-point swing in a game that's decided by a very small margin, and 9 penalties, too many penalties, and these are all things that we can control, that we should control. And there's a certain way that we have to play to be successful. And if we don't play that way, we're going to have more of these post-game conversations, and it's not the way it should be. And they understand that. I understand that. This is a group that works hard, that executes the game plan. I think there are a lot of good things in terms of doing that. Seneca comes in and takes Jake's place in the second week of the season, and I thought he operated effectively, and the guys believed in him. And we moved the ball at different points throughout the course of the game. But it still comes down to, in addition to that, the return game. I thought we did a really nice job handling their two returners. Thought defensively, dealing with their no huddle and shifting, which last year gave us a ton of problems. I thought all those things were positive, but those positives are going to be overshadowed by turnovers that lead to points. On the flip side of that, we got the turnover and couldn't get the field goal. Penalty hurt us there as well. So I'm disappointed for all of us, because the result should be different. But until we change those two things, the self-inflicted wounds, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard week in and week out. So that I'll turn over to you.
Do you have to be more perfect than some teams, Eric? Because other teams do overcome some mistakes.
I think, Jeff, it's not a function of I've never looked at it as comparing us to some other team. I look at it as, this week it's a 7-point. It's 7 points. It's 7 points instantaneously, and then another time you fumble there on whatever yard line we fumbled it on. Thought the defense did a nice job holding them out, but there's 3 more points. That's 10 points you're spotting your opponent. Maybe some other teams can, do something differently, but it's hard to overcome a 10-point, add-on.
Eric, last week you're up 14-3 in the first half. This week you're up 14-10 in the first half. What's changed in the second half? Did they make more adjustments? Did you guys not adjust? Why the second half problems?
I think we're 14-10 in both those games. I felt like we did some positive things in both those games. Not looking back at Tampa, but that becomes a field position issue in that game. In this game, I felt like we should have run the ball better, more effectively, and that was a collective effort. In the second half, I thought there were some chances that we had against their running game to stop them where we didn't, and then a run that should have been -2, taking a chance in the running game in terms of trying to make a play to stop them, get a negative play where we had a chance and they picked up 6 or 8 yards, things like that.
About the penalties, but the one on Alex Mack, which moved you guys back and ultimately forced field kick from 40, whatever, 6 it was. That obviously was a big one.
Yeah, there were more than that. When you have 9 penalties, it's not. It's not the way we're going to play. It's not the way we're going to play. We're not going to play that way. You just make it harder, and we work on that every single day, and can't have it. Can't have it. We don't practice it. We don't tolerate it. It's not good football. It's not smart football, and it's not winning football. We can't play that way.
For the second straight week, you guys didn't have any points in the second half. Did you see defenses doing something different to stop you guys in the second half?
I didn't see a dramatic shift in the approach from Kansas City this week. I didn't see a dramatic shift last week. Maybe 1 or 2 things. I thought some of the ideas we had coming out of the half offensively could have produced more than we did.
Do you have an explanation? I mean, why do you think it's been such a struggle offensively?
I'm going to go back and watch this here. I think last week part of that was terrible field position.
Eric, 6 catches from your two starting wide receivers in the last 2 games, and just 2 today from one from Rubisky, one from Massaquoi. I mean, is more production needed there?
I'd like to get consistent production from the whole group, and one of the things that helps that is being able to run the ball effectively, and that helps change the coverage and push some things. I felt like we took some shots this week, which we didn't have as many of those in last week. We hit the big one to Josh. We had a couple other ones that we had some chances on. Mo's play on the sideline there late. I thought, the call was what it was, but I had a chance there. I'd like to get better across the board.
That play was right in front of you. Did he lose the ball on the way down? Is that?
When he hit the ground, it came out. So I think that's what the call was.
What did they do differently to Jerome Harrison this time?
Well, they're a radically different team, Jeff. I think that they've improved up front. I think the guys that they have playing there have gotten better in terms of the way that they play technique. Changed both the starting inside linebackers. Both safeties are different. So it's a pretty different, and it's a dramatically different look than what it was last year. Romeo's done a good job with that group, especially in the running game, I think.
Eric, you mentioned a couple times should have run the ball better. Is it play calling? Is it execution? Lack of talent? What is it?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and it's going to be, can't look at it and say it's simply the backs, or it's simply the line, or it's simply the calls. In order for that to work effectively, in order for us to run the ball effectively, that has to flow as one, and we got to do a good job on the perimeter. We got to do a good job inside. We got to hit the right holes. So it's when we have run it well, that's what it's a function of. You can't have one guy, one play not doing quite what he needs to do, and the next play it's a different guy. Those things start adding up. You're into 2nd and 7. You're into 2nd and 9, or whatever it is, and now you're behind the 8 ball instead of using it for what it should be, which is to get you ahead of the count and give you good options, run pass options.
The way they kicked off, could you have adjusted it? Were you happy with the way you guys adjusted, or could you have done something different to get it?
I think the average drive start was somewhere around the 35, 37. So that's the approach they were going to take. They were going to give up field position in order to not let Josh have a chance to hit the home run. So if you're starting with the ball in the 35, most drives, that's a pretty good situation.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.